marches and bloody battles which terminated Lee's first invasion of Maryland. The discipline of our army was excellent, and it would have been hard to find a finer body of men, or better fighting material than that assembled on this occasion in readiness to open the spring campaign. Hooker was justly popular with his troops. They had confidence in his ability as a general, and he had gained their goodwill by anticipating their wants and by generously granting furloughs to those who were pining from homesickness, trusting that old associations and the honor of the men would induce them to rejoin their colors when the leaves of absence had expired. In this way, he almost stopped the desertion which had been so prevalent under Burnside. Only one portion of the army was dissatisfied. The position recently occupied by General Franz Sigel, the favorite commander of the 11th Corps, had been given to General O. Howard. The numerous Germans in that corps were discontented at the change. They cared little for Howard's reputation as the Havelock of the army, an appellation he had gained from his zeal as a Congregationalist. They felt, when their countryman Sigel was deprived of his command, that it was a blow to their nationality, and therefore lost some of the enthusiasm which always accompanies the personal influence of a popular leader. The rainy season was nearly over. The time had come for action, and it was essential to strike a decisive blow before the term of service of the 9 months and 2 years men had drawn to a close. Hooker's plan of campaign was simple, efficacious, and should have been successful. The rebels occupied a long line and could not be strong everywhere. He resolved to make a pretense of crossing with 3 corps under Major General Sedgwick below Fredericksburg, while the remaining 4 corps under Major General Slocum made a detour and crossed 27 miles above at Kelly's Ford. The latter were then to march down the river against the left flank of the rebel army and reopen Banks' Ford, thus reuniting the 2 wings of the army and giving a secure line of retreat in case of disaster. When this was accomplished, it was proposed to give battle in the open country near the ford, the position there being a commanding one, and taking the whole line of rebel works on the heights of Fredericksburg in reverse. Owing to his great preponderance of force, Hooker had little reason to doubt that the result would be favorable to our arms. To carry out this plan and make it a complete surprise to the enemy, it became necessary to leave Gibbon's division of Couch's corps behind, for as his encampment at Falmouth was in full view of the Confederate forces on the opposite side, to withdraw it would have been to notify them that some unusual movement was going on. So far, the idea was simply to crush the opposing army, but Hooker's plan went farther and involved the capture of Lee's entire force. To accomplish this, he directed Stoneman to start 2 weeks in advance of the main body with 10,000 cavalry, cross at the upper fords of the Rappahannock, and sweep down upon Lee's communications with Richmond, breaking up railroads and canals, cutting telegraph wires, and intercepting supplies of all kinds. As the rebel commissariat found great difficulty in keeping more than 4 days' rations on hand at a time, Stoneman's raid would almost necessarily force Lee to fall back on his depots and give up Fredericksburg. One column under Averill was to attack Culpeper and Gordonsville, the other under Buford to move to Louisa Courthouse, and thence to the Fredericksburg Railroad. Both columns were to unite behind the Pamunkey, and in case our army was successful, Stoneman was directed to plant his force behind some river in an advantageous position on Lee's line of retreat, where he could detain the rebel army until Hooker could again assail it and compel it to surrender. A brave program. Let us see how it was carried out. It was an essential part of Hooker's project that the cavalry should begin operations 2 weeks before the infantry. If they did their work thoroughly, Lee would be out of provisions, and his retreat would give us all the moral effect of a victory. The rebel cavalry at the time being reduced to about 3,000 men, it was not supposed that Stoneman would encounter any serious resistance. He accordingly started on April 13th to carry out his instructions, but another rainstorm, which made the river unfordable, and very bad roads, detained him until the 28th. It has been suggested that he might have crossed higher up